Lush gardens with green all around, humid air. You might think I'm describing Mexico or the Amazon, but around 55 million years ago, that would be the perfect description for the place we call Antarctica. The Earth has gone through a multitude of changes throughout its turbulent 4.5 billion year lifespan. These can be categorized in geological epochs and periods. The icy wasteland we have to come to know as Antarctica was once brimming with dinosaurs, fauna, and other forms of life which came to an end when the climate and C02 levels changed on a global scale. So, let's dive into how a once oasis transformed into one of the harshest places on our planet Earth. To really understand how Antarctica came to be, we must first travel back 145 to 66 million years ago to the Crustaceous Period. To give context to the state of the Earth and its contents during the Crustaceous Period, we first must look at a map of the Earth. South America and Africa are oceans apart, but 100 million years ago they were still attached together by the hip. The southern continents were known as Gondwana, and the northern continents were known as Laurasia. Around 80 million years ago, the places that we now call Australia and New Zealand began to detach from Antarctica into their present-day locations. This was the result of the movement of the Earth's tectonic plates. Another factor that contributed to Antarctica's past life was the climate. The climate of Earth has always been one of the most important factors when discussing life on our planet. Dinosaurs and other animals thrived during the Crustaceous Period, and this was due to the warmer climate. As a matter of fact, the Crustaceous Period had the warmest climate of the past 140 million years, which made it ideal for fauna and animals to proliferate. The climate in some tropical areas were 35 degrees Celsius or 95 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than they are today, with the sea level 170 meters or 557 feet higher than today. This leads us to a group of researchers who in 2020 drilled on Pine Island and Thwaites glaciers in West Antarctica. There they documented how a rich network of fossil roots and a massive amount of plant remains, which helped prove the idea that rich plant life had once inhabited the now wasteland. The researchers also deduced that the average summer temperature in Antarctica was 19 degrees Celsius or 66 degrees Fahrenheit, with a key factor being the levels of C02 in the atmosphere. The average ppm, or parts per million of C02 in the atmosphere in the Crustaceous Period, have been theorized to be 1,000 to 1,200, which to put in perspective is nearly 3 times more than the 400 ppm average we have today. Another question has arisen when discussing plant and animal life on Antarctica. How exactly did they survive with less sun? During the winter, there is no sun in Antarctica, which was still true millions of years ago in the region. This makes it a mystery how plants survived without the sun, but what is also important to remember is that there was sunlight all day in the summer. Professor David Beerling of the University of Sheffield explained to BBC that plants during the summer overproduced their food supplies since they had no indicator of when to stop since there was sunlight all day. In experiments conducted, Professor Beerling observed that plants in similar conditions could rely on their abundance of food to help survive the warm but dark winter. The dark days were no match for their large supply of food. So how did animals like dinosaurs survive? We have their fossils to help solve our question. Professor Thomas Rich of the Victoria Museum in Australia has a theory to help explain our question. Having examined fossils of dinosaurs from Australia, which again was once part of Antarctica, he found that dinosaurs may have possessed a sort of night vision. Based on a complete fossil of the Leolinosaura, it shows that it possessed large optical lobes which made its eyesight all the better. Just like we can see with the nocturnal animals of today, nature finds a way to adapt. Different dinosaurs like the ankylosaurs, armored dinosaurs, plesiosaurs and mosasaurs also inhabited the jungles of South. Many of these fossils were found on Seymour Island off the coast of Antarctica. Dinosaurs are not the only animals that inhabited the lush jungle. Antarctica used to have our favorite furry mammals like beavers and possums. All types of whales and dolphins also flourished in the oceans off the coast. Antarctica was teeming with life and was a real oasis. So what exactly happened to it? To explain how Antarctica transformed from a lush jungle to a frozen wasteland, we have to go back 34 million years to the period of the Eocene-Oligocene transition. There are competing theories to explain how exactly the ice began to form, and one of them is the proposed circumpolar current that formed around Antarctica. This current may have been created by open ocean basins when the supercontinent of Gondwana was moving apart. This isolated the massive landmass from the warmer waters to the north. Without the warm waters, the ice continued to grow until the ice caps we see today. Also, in the transitional period, there were cooler summers as a result of the changes in the Earth's tilt towards the sun. Since Antarctica had moved to the southernmost region of the Earth, this meant the region had less sun than in previous periods. Another potential factor is the decrease in CO2 in the atmosphere that was having ramifications throughout the Earth. Now, all this talk of ancient history may seem like way too long ago to even matter, but what happened millions of years ago still affects us today. As the oil used to fuel our cars and engines was formed from plants and animals throughout millions of years. The rise in CO2 levels that have begun to thaw viruses that have been frozen for millions of years. The popular name of zombie viruses has come to use, and who knows what these viruses might bring. Although the viruses unthawing seem to be concentrated in the north, who knows what the warming of the Earth might uncover our frozen wasteland in the south. A main concern the public and scientists have is the melting of the ice in the south. If the Antarctic ice sheet melted completely, the global sea level would rise around 30 meters or about 98 feet. This would be catastrophic to coastlines and would affect millions of people. As the world continues to warm, maybe even one day, Antarctica in the far future will have lush jungles again. Only time will tell.